The curtain is down, and for an appreciative audience, the show is over. Spotlights yield to house lights. After a show, there's a special buzz of conversation under the marquee. Theatergoers speak glowingly of what they saw on the stage, completely unaware of what must go on off stage to make the performance possible. Before the show, there's an altogether different buzz. This is the busy, active sound of the stagehands who toil in the land behind the scenes, Americans at work, setting the stage for countless evenings of entertainment in the theater. With skills bordering on magic, they build the world the actor must have for his performance. A theatrical world of scenery, lights, shadows, and effects, without which no show could go on. When a new show arrives in town, wooden boxes stand outside the ticket window, like so many theatergoers waiting in line. Stagehands move them quickly inside. No small feat when you consider how much paraphernalia is used in today's productions. Moving this particular attraction from town to town requires 6 70-foot baggage cars, the largest size in use on the railroads. Moving it to another continent required 7 cargo planes. Much of the scenery consists of drops. These enter the theater rolled up in a size that stagehands can manage. When they are suspended from overhead, they can suggest enormous vistas, great open plains with mountains beyond, the sea, and a blue-skied horizon, or simply a city street retreating between towering buildings. Drops are cloth painted to resemble whatever scenery is desired. They provide background for the action on the stage. Like a sailor, the stagehand rope. He must be adept at tying knots. Stagehands call these hemp houses. To hang the drops for this particular show, they must use over 12 miles of rope. In an earlier day, the clove hitch and the bowline. Some theaters suspend drops by wire cables. Others, like this one, use rope. Today, experience in the Navy or in the merchant fleet is good training for the craft. Many of the trade expressions behind stage come from the sea. The rod from which a drop is suspended is called a batten. Ropes are tied around belaying pins, though the theater may be many miles from the salt water. Actually, the system by which drops are suspended was developed from the techniques for rigging a sailing vessel. Like sails unfurled before the wind, drops are drawn upward to an area the stagehands call the flies. In the theater of today, the space above the stage should be at least twice as high as the proscenium opening, the part the audience sees. Lights, as well as scenery drops, are suspended in this area. The stagehand who works this job is called a flyman. The trained flyman prepares his work carefully before the show, flying backdrops and borders above the stage, weighting them with sandbags and securing them in place. He positions them with care because everything must be in place when the show starts. Backgrounds are switched, sometimes in no more than 5 to 10 seconds. Between scenes, a good stage crew can convert the great American desert into the canals of Venice. A stagehand must also be an electrician. Lighting the stage is one of the most important phases of his work. This is no small job to be accomplished by switching on a light here and another one there. Stagehands must control enormous amounts of electricity. They often use as much as 5 miles of cable. One theater spotlight burns as much electricity as an entire home, and the total amount used to light this show would light the average small town. When the stagehand works with lighting, he is working with an element that touches every aspect of theater production. It affects the scenery, costuming, makeup, even the action of the play itself. With lighting, he can suggest the hour of the day, the season of the year, and the weather. He can bring out the color of scenery and create the play of light and shadow. He can even reinforce the mood of the play, making it gay and happy or heavy and somber. He is master of the theater's illusions. Some lights are stationary. Others are attached to pipes and moved up and down to create whatever effect is needed. These moving lights are called X-ray units, for reasons long since lost in the lore of stagecraft. Lighting by electricity is a fairly recent art. In the theater of antiquity, light was produced from pine knot torches, oil lamps, and tallow candles. This method prevailed till the 19th century. The first theater lighted by gas was the Chestnut Street Opera House in Philadelphia in 1816. The first use of electric stage lighting came in 1846 in the Paris Opera House. Heave-ho! Working on the bull line is no one-man job, but then nothing in the stagehand's craft is. Stagehands working together as a team assemble a world of fantasy quickly, deftly. A real workhorse in modern theatrical lighting is the 1,000-watt lamp. With filters, the electrician can bathe the stage with any color light that is desired. Along the balcony rail are placed lights that bear an odd name, Licos, a combination of the names of the men who first developed them. These lights contain masks that enable the stagehand to angle light rays into even the smallest of areas. Some Licos are placed on booms. Again, the stagehand turns to the language of the sea. These box boom lights are not moved during the show. They are usually placed at the sides of the proscenium opening, invisible to the audience, but vital to the show. Damage frequently occurs to scenery moved from one city to another. The stagehand is trained to repair the flats when they arrive at his theater. With competent stagehands backing him up, the actor can perform confidently in New York or with a road show in a city he never saw before. Close cooperation prevails between stagehands from different cities, thus assuring standard stage techniques for touring companies. Stagehands have always worked closely together, and in fact owe the formation of their international union to friendly relationships built up through the road shows. The Chicago stagehands were the first to organize in 1887. Other cities followed suit, and in 1893, local alliances from 10 American cities formed a national labor organization. Today, it is international, including stagehands from Canada. Flats are the most common variety of painted scenery, made up of a frame covered with material. The walls of an interior setting usually consist of a number of such pieces, set edge to edge. Most of them are 14 to 16 feet high. The standard professional flat does not exceed 5 feet 9 inches in width. Anything wider than this is difficult to handle in the fast-paced world of show business. Those that have no openings are called plain flats. A door flat is one that contains an opening for a door, and a window flat, of course, is one that has a window. From these, stage crews can build the inside of a home or the outside of a building. men who construct the sets and fly the drops belong to the grip department. This is the largest group numerically among the stage crew. In this particular operation, 22 men are needed for this work, as compared to 9 in the electrical department and 7 in properties. To the stagehand, this busy setting up period is show in. When the show is over, the process of taking down the sets, packing up and making ready to leave is called show out. At the bull line, the work goes on for an institution that is universal. All cultures, no matter how primitive, have developed some form of theater. Thorough testing of electric circuits and lights is essential. Electricians must be completely familiar with the equipment. With a dimmer, the electrician can regulate the intensity of light in any unit of the theater, bringing it up in one area, dropping it down in another. The electrician works from an intricate cue sheet, like a musician's score, and like the musician, he must hit the right key at the right instant. A sour note from him might mean semi-darkness at a moment when all should see. Final touches are added by the property men. In motion pictures, they're called the prop men. But the theater, older, rooted more deeply in tradition, uses the more formal designation, property man. Either way, it's work that must be done with skill if a scene is to come to life. Curtain time, a moment supreme for the stagehands. Union members of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees and Moving Picture Machine Operators of the United States and Canada, AFL-CIO. Americans at work for you. Americans at Work, presented as a public service by the AFL-CIO. Next week, another story of Americans at work. Americans whose skill and effort help keep our country great and strong.